AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Make it him, you so. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Jimmy will be here at the end of the hour for Otter Locks, which are live right now with LouisianaSports.net. Jake Madison in about 30 minutes. Talk Pels coaching search. We will get a little deeper into what Will Wade had to say on John Rothstein's podcast, plus Jay Johnson previewing LSU Tulane coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. The game starts here in about 90 minutes from first pitch. I think it's been a really good offseason for the New Orleans Saints. Surprisingly. They have behaved like a franchise with an adult in the room, like a competent organization. They have a young coach. They have a young centerpiece quarterback that they're trying to decipher if, in fact, he is going to be their franchise. And they are building necessarily around him to give him what he needs to find out. This is a discovery process. Okay, you flashed at the end of last season. Can you actually be the guy we think you can? Well, we're going to find out by giving you everything you need. Awesome. Let's go sign the best offensive guard in free agency. Here comes David Edwards. Boom. Let's go use the 8th pick on maybe the most dynamic receiver in the draft, Jordan Tyson. Here you go. I love what they've done. Got him help at tight end with Oscar Delp. I mean, you know the draft. Drafted 3 wide receivers. First time they've done that since 1989. They're committing right now to protecting Tyler Shuck and giving him weapons to throw to. Let's see how this looks. Love that. They've got, and meanwhile, they're also getting their cap in order, which is going to help them in future years continue to spend robustly in free agency. The biggest questions that remain are about Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara and what their futures are. Cam Jordan remains an unsigned, unrestricted free agent, while the Saints have added edge rushers. We've talked plenty about that here on the show. And they went and added Travis Etienne and paid him $50 million in free agency, and meanwhile restructured Alvin Kamara's contract, which would seem to spell the end of Alvin Kamara's time in New Orleans. Kamara was a guest on Teron Armstead's podcast. It's called The Set with Teron Armstead. And they talked a good bit about the pairing of Kamara and Etienne. And Kamara kind of gave his reaction, number 3 if we could, Muse, his reaction to the Saints signing Travis Etienne.
You know, I ain't into social media and all that. I don't do too much watching and stuff, but I think a lot of people be thinking it's like beef or something. Like when moves like this happen, and it's like, man, I couldn't be happier. Like, 1, my boy got paid, and 2, like, man, there ain't nothing but some help in the backfield. Like, man, that's the name of the game. Shoot, you adept. One person can't do it by themselves, so I'm cool. I'm cool with it, man. Whichever direction we can take it, I mean, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't had really a chance too much to talk to him, but definitely excited that he got a fleur-de-lis on his helmet. He got paid and time to work.
There is the component where he said one guy can't do it by himself, and you do need depth. That is true. However, it's not exactly an absolute that you have one bell cow and other guys just. I mean, Kellen Moore won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley, and it's kind of all they needed when Saquon had an MVP caliber season. I don't think any of us expect Travis Etienne or Alvin Kamara to play at an MVP level. And I know there's kind of been this consistent point of view that Kamara was at his best when he had Mark Ingram. I think that's a narrative that's out there. As a matter of fact, they talked about that. If Kamara and Etienne can produce like Kamara and Ingram did in 2017, 2018.
And I think that's what we're trying to find, man. You know, me and Mark set the bar, very high. And I think, that's what efficiency looks like on a very high level. So, man, I'm 100% for it. Like, if that's what direction we going in, I'm with it. I think we can get there. You know, Tutu my dog, so I ain't gonna say we gonna recreate that, but you know, we'll see. We got to get close. We got to reach for it.
Here, I think, is the biggest misconception of the Kamara-Ingram pairing. That pairing greatly benefited Mark Ingram. When Alvin Kamara came into the league in 2017, Mark Ingram that year played in all 16 games, ran for 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. That was his career high. In his NFL career, a dozen years, Mark Ingram had 3 1,000-yard seasons. He did it in 2016, just barely eclipsing 1,000, 1,043. And then Kamara's rookie year, Ingram had 1,124 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns, which, by the way, was a career high. Had his career best season when Kamara was a rookie and came in and sort of supplemented. Kamara took so much attention off of Ingram and helped Ingram. And then they were only together one more year in 2018, and Ingram's numbers were cut in half. Now, he played in 12 games that year, but he went from 1,100 yards to 645. Kamara has always been consistent with or without Mark Ingram. He ran for 728 as a rookie. The next year, when Ingram's numbers were cut in half, Kamara ran for 883 and 14 touchdowns. And by the way, that's pretty much been consistent. You don't need to memorize this. There's not a test, but this is Kamara's rushing totals. 728, 883, 797, 932, 898, 897, 694. He only played in 13 games in 2023. 950, would have gone over 1,000 yards in 2024, but for the injury at the end of the season. And then this past year, 471 when he played in just 11 games. The point is, Kamara didn't need Mark Ingram. Ingram needed Kamara. Ingram left New Orleans, went to Baltimore, and his career basically ended his time in Baltimore. He goes to Baltimore. The first season there, ran for 1,018 yards, and after that was just Baltimore, Houston, back in New Orleans. His rushing totals were 299, 554, 294, 260, 233. Never had a 300-yard season again. He was done. Ingram benefited from Kamara. Kamara didn't need Ingram. My point in what we're seeing here is going to get Travis Etienne makes you younger at running back. They've made the financial investment there. And also restructuring Alvin Kamara's deal creatively the way they did gives New Orleans the open door to move on from Alvin. Alvin saying that he's happy to see Etienne there because they need depth and one person can't do it alone, I think is a little short-sighted. Like, I always say actions speak louder than words. The Saints' actions are showing you that are moving on from Alvin Kamara as their guy. Now, I do believe if Kamara isn't released and they go to camp and Kamara proves that he's still a valuable guy and is the next best option, he could certainly make the team. But you do also have options at running back. You've still got Kendre Miller lingering around, which is weird to say because we haven't talked about him at all. But you've got, Devin Neal, who you drafted a year ago. I'm not saying they're great options, but they're younger options than Alvin Kamara, who had been declining until the 2024 season, but then got injured at the end of that year and then played just 11 games last year. I know we mentioned this, but Alvin Kamara in his career played a full season one time. It was his rookie year in 2017. After 2017, he has never played a full season. Now, I love Alvin Kamara. He is one of my favorite New Orleans Saints of all time. Like, no qualifiers. One of my favorites of all time. Love him. Love what he's been to this organization. He's the franchise's all-time leader in touchdowns. He's been a great ambassador for New Orleans, for the franchise. Team guy, everything. I love Alvin Kamara. Would love for him to finish his career in New Orleans. I'm just looking at this going, realistically, acknowledging the Saints' actions, it doesn't point to them investing in Kamara being back. We'll wait and see what that means. But Kamara, again, is saying all the right things. Can you play 4, please? He's saying all the right things because he's been a team guy his whole career. And this is part of the thing you love about Kamara.
I've watched him in Jacksonville, these past couple of years, and, explosive. He hit home runs. He did it in college. Strong dude, seems smart. I'm excited to see what we could do together.
Kamara's a great team guy. If in one offseason you lose DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, and Alvin Kamara, it's a gigantic leadership void, and you're going to ask new people to step up. Kamara's saying the right things. He wants to be back and expects to be back. Do the Saints want him back is the question that I think is still unresolved, and a lot of the evidence points to maybe not. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020, or you can always log on to williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. There's this misconception that LASIK wears off. It's not true. LASIK changes the shape of your eye. I learned this because I had LASIK with Dr. Blake 8 years ago. But LASIK changes the shape of your eye, but it only addresses about 10% of your eye. So other parts of your eye can age, and you can have other refractive issues. The great thing about the Williamson Eye Center and the advances in ophthalmology is that no matter your age or refractive issue, there is a procedure that can help you see without contacts or glasses forever. So ditch the contacts and glasses. Schedule that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Tuesday, LSU on the Diamond, about an hour and 17 minutes from right now against Tulane. Jay Johnson previews that. Also, if you missed it, Will Wade was on John Rothstein's podcast, said the Tigers have 7 or 8 players right now. We opened the show with that. If you missed it, you can catch that on demand. But I want to dive into a little more of what Will Wade had to say on his first public comments since being hired at LSU a little more than a month ago. We'll get to that next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Not too late, y'all. It's not too late to call River City's 1 Hour Air and schedule your preseason AC tune-up. It's 81 degrees right now in Baton Rouge, and you know those triple-digit heat indexes are around the corner. It's unavoidable when you live in Louisiana. My friends at River City's 1 Hour Air are going to do right by you because they've done that for 4 decades. That's why they have more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews. It's why I always sit here and read a lot of these, like this one from Huey Watson, who said, "My technician, Kevin Webb, was great. He was very thorough and professional. He explained everything to me and provided me all my options." I say that to you all the time. They're not going to force service upon you. They're going to give you a good, better, and best option, and you choose what's best for you, your family, your budget at that time. They do exceptional work at a fair price. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
My tractor sexy, it really turns her on. She's always staring.
Hey, Muse, you going to the game?
I haven't decided. I think I'm just going to get in my truck and see where it takes me. Either home or to the box. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I just haven't really decided yet.
How often do you do that?
In the midweek, often. And I'll tell you right now, it's taking me home every single time this year. It is taking me home every time.
Has it ever taken you to the box?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yes.
Is this always just a midweek
Yeah. Yeah,
conversation
if it's the
you
week,
have with yourself?
Yeah, if it's the weekend, I'm out there. Yeah. 100%. This year, man, the midweek games have just been so long. I mean, I feel like they've all been 4.5 hours.
Well, it's because they make 17 pitches.
Right. And it's like, man, I can watch this at home, immediately do Moose at the box after. I don't have to, and then right after that, just post it and go get in bed. I don't have to drive home and then post the podcast when I get home. It's just.
Or you can do it from your phone.
Well, that's what I mean, but then I have to get the actual audio version of it. Yeah. So, I can do all that in one sitting if I just do it at home.
Okay.
So, I might be.
So
man.
you're not going to the box.
I might be. It's Tulane.
It's Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo.
Paula, you got Cinco de Mayo plans? Yeah?
We're cooking tacos at the house tonight.
Taco Tuesday. Don't you love when Cinco de Mayo falls on Taco Tuesday, man?
I don't really care. I don't really.
So good.
There was a time in my life when I cared about Cinco de Mayo. Meaning when I was in college and maybe shortly thereafter. Because when I was in college, Serrano's, through the North Gates, right next to the Chimes in Varsity, which is no longer Serrano's. I don't even know what it is now. But that was the place that. You weren't in college when it was Serrano's?
No, we didn't have Serrano's.
So whatever that place is now, I think it maybe at one point was Barcadia. It's been a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But that spot right next.
I think it's the Rev now.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think so.
Or if anything's open, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that parking lot on the side, the driveway parking lot, they just threw a big block party, big stage in the back, band, indoor, outdoors. That's where everybody went. And then after college, I lived in Mid-City, and La Coretta right there on Government, which is still there, was a great spot. And then when Eric and I got married, we moved into Spring Lake, Fairhill area, and there's a La Coretta on Blue Bonnet, and that became the spot. So then Drew came along, and then I just don't really do anything.
No more Cinco de Mayo,
all I do is work. I work. all the time. I work just all of the time in my life.
Yeah.
Except when I leave here today, because I'm going to Miracle League.
There we go.
To watch the shenanigans that are all of these special needs children playing baseball, or their attempt to play baseball, which is hilarious. They all have so much fun, but it is chaos. I mean, it is just sheer chaos out there.
Season finale tonight.
Finale.
Miracle League, huh?
And Drew is taken to, they're the Rockies for the second year in a row.
Okay.
He is, they always do their cheer at the end of the game, the Let's Go Rockies cheer. And so he likes to say, let's go Rockies. But Drew has also taken to wearing his hat sideways. I have no idea why. He does not he doesn't even like to wear a hat, ever. We put a hat on his head, he immediately takes it off. But for some reason at Miracle League, he will wear his hat. And you put it on straight, and he turns it sideways, not back. Drew doesn't understand, he doesn't understand, a fashion statement that some people wear their hat backwards or crooked or flat. He doesn't conceptualize any of this. So it's just an innate thing for him that I don't know if he just doesn't like having the bill on the front, and so he just turns it to the side. But it's hilarious to watch this sweaty little, 50-pound 11-year-old walking around in his oversized Rockies jersey with a sideways hat.
So good.
Not doing anything related to baseball whatsoever as he walks around on the field.
Just living in the moment, man.
He is just living his best life.
It's a beautiful thing.
In every moment of his life, he is living his best life. It's the beautiful thing about having a special needs child is blissfully unaware he's different. And so every moment of his life is the best moment of his life. He just doesn't, none of the BS that consumes all of our thoughts and concerns and things you and I worry about that's so trivial and nonsensical. He doesn't conceptualize any of it. It's just, hi, Daddy. Let's just be happy. I'm going to put my hat on sideways and go look for a sign on the fence with a letter R because it's there or whatever. Anyway, so that's tonight. But I will have the LSU game on my phone. Jay Johnson on his radio show did kind of give a brief preview of the Tulane game. Here's how it sounded.
You're going to get everybody's best, especially these in-state teams that probably grew up LSU fans and are energized by coming to the box and playing in that environment. And well-coached team probably hasn't gone the way they wanted to go this year, but I expect a tough game, and we'll be ready for it.
Look, a win is a win is a win for the Tigers at this point, and you could say the old cliche, they need all the wins they can get. That's true. I think more what you need to do is avoid another bad loss as you're trying to put together your tournament resume. Tulane's not very good. They're I looked it up, bro. I think, are they 145? Is that it? Do I have that right?
You're right. They're 145.
145 in the RPI. LSU's 55. Tulane's 145. So your opportunity really is this weekend. You've got Georgia, who's 16 in the RPI. Next weekend's Florida, who's 12 in the RPI. So those are going to be your opportunities to move up the RPI, and you can make a significant movement with a series win this weekend. We'll see if they can go get it. But Jay Johnson, also on his coach's show, was asked to sort of bandy about a bit the NCAA tournament resume, and he was asked how many wins he thinks his team needs to get into the tournament.
I think the criteria often changes. I think we do have a good number of quad 1 and quad 2 wins, which would work in our favor. I think I look at what we have control of, and what we have control of is really good RPI opportunities. I think Georgia's somewhere in the top 8 in RPI. They certainly have a good record, which is more important than their actual RPI, is their winning record. The fact that it's on the road is really to our benefit this week. So I think it's, if we go out and we play a similar brand of baseball and give ourselves a chance to win, 5 of the 7 games that we play, and then probably a win in the SEC tournament, most years that would be good enough.
So we'll see if it's enough. Tigers got work to do with 7 games remaining. First one tonight at home at the box against Tulane, 6:30 first pitch. Lineup should be posted before we get out of here. We'll run through it. Jimmy will be here in about 20, 25 minutes from right now for Auto Locks. We'll talk to Jake Madison coming up here in a smidge. We are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding, shades and shutters too at Relief Windows, where their number one product is always customer satisfaction. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. You talk to Brandon, he says it all the time. You've got to be willing to spend your last dollar to make your customer happy. And that's what they thrive on. At Relief Windows, they will never take a dollar from you until they're done and you're thrilled. They will not take a down payment. Brandon told me, he's had customers try to give him a down payment, tried to pay half up front or whatever. They won't take it. They will not take money up front. They're not going to take a dollar from you until the work is done and you're thrilled. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Will Wade was on John Rothstein's podcast. We opened the show with the most newsworthy part of it, which is Will Wade said, look, y'all don't know how many players we got, but we got about 7 or 8 on the roster already right now. They just haven't announced them yet for a variety of reasons. If you want my take on that, AFR On Demand podcast, YouTube, go check it out. It was the show open today. A few other things that I thought were really interesting in this podcast. We've all talked about a realistic goal year one for Will Wade, at least certainly my opinion, is that with the investment in the staff and the roster, it is realistic to expect LSU have its name pop up on the screen on Selection Sunday. You got to make the tournament. So Will Wade was asked his goals for year one back at LSU.
Well, we want to reestablish ourselves as one of the best teams in the SEC. We've fallen the last couple of years. When we left, we were the second best program in the SEC, and we're not trying to get second. We don't like silver medals, but we want to climb our way back up. We need to climb our way into the top half, then climb our way into the top 4, then get our way to the top. So we got to reestablish ourselves as a team that's competitive in this league and a team that's ready to compete in this league and win in this league. And so that's the goal, and the goal is always to make the NCAA tournament. We've been to 8 out of the last 9 NCAA tournaments across a bunch of different schools. And so we want to keep that. We want to keep that rolling.
It's true. The expectation with Will Wade is you're playing meaningful basketball in March, and that's been the case at Chattanooga, at VCU, at LSU, and at McNeese, and at NC State. It should be at LSU again, because if you have the investment on the top tier players, top of your roster, you should win enough in the SEC to be one of the 68 or 76 teams that, or whatever the number is now, I forgot what they're moving to, that hear their name called. It was also interesting hearing Will Wade talk about, you just heard him say, he's been in the tournament everywhere he's been. So, what can you do at LSU that you couldn't do at NC State? How he answered it was interesting.
Well, look, NC State's a great basketball job as well. It was tough to leave there. But I think at LSU with the SEC, we just have more resources just because of the revenue that's generated through our basketball and football contracts. And so I think that we have the ability to compete with the best in the SEC. When you compete in the best of the SEC, you got the opportunity to compete nationally. You look at the number of bids that the SEC's been getting every year, and with the tournament expanding, I mean, probably all but one or two teams every year is going to, we got 16 teams, probably 13, 14 of them are going to get in every year now. And it's somewhere I'm familiar with. It's not somewhere where I have to go meet people. And usually it takes 18 to 24 months to get your hands around everybody, get your hands around everything. I've been able to expedite that process by being back here at LSU.
Will Wade, great sit down with John Rothstein. The first real extensive comments Wade has made since being hired at LSU. Today we did reach out. We've reached out to Will to have him on the show, and we expect to do that soon. He's obviously going through this whole roster building process right now, and we'll be able to talk to him soon enough when things slow down. So work to be done. But in the meantime, Will Wade says roster is in a much better spot than you might know publicly. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Quick break, Jake Madison. Give us an update on the Pels coaching search. That's next on AFR.
After Further Review.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. At Glow Resources, their job is to help you find a permanent solution for the job that you're having trouble filling, or having trouble filling with someone that will stay. If it's skilled blue-collar labor, maybe it's their professional placement division for any type of office job, you want Glow Resources. Start online at glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They're so confident at Glow Resources in their ability to find you that permanent solution that will last, that they guarantee it. If for whatever reason the employee they find for you does not work out at Glow Resources, they will either give you a prorated refund or they will find you a new employee absolutely free. Start online today at GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions, glowresources.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't into cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
We get to Otter Locks here in about a dozen minutes from right now. Pelicans season has been over. Feels like a month now. And they still don't have a new head coach. So what's going on? Jake Madison joins us at NOLA Jake, locked on Pelicans. What's up, dude?
Not too much. Happy to be on Talking Hoops here with you.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Hey, catch us up, Jake, on what's real and what's not from when the season ended to now as far as names that have been bandied about.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard the names that are in contention for this Pelicans head coaching job. And from what I understand, this is going to start to get wrapped up sooner rather than later. You've heard former Lakers head coach Darvin Ham, who's currently an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's a name that has interviewed for the job. Steve Hetzel, an assistant with the Brooklyn Nets, has interviewed for the job as well. Jamal Mosley, fired literally yesterday by the Orlando Magic after losing a Game 7 in the playoffs. It's someone that they seem to have long had interest in as well, and could kind of be a late addition to the mix here. And we've also heard of former Pelicans guard and a former All-Star, All-NBA level player, Rajon Rondo, in the mix here. He's not currently an assistant coach. He's been around the Milwaukee Bucks in kind of like an advisory role to their former head coach, Doc Rivers. But he's a name that's kind of emerged as a little bit of a dark horse contender in this mix. I think those four are really the names to keep an eye on. I would be almost shocked at this point if anyone else really came into the mix.
Okay. Your most recent episode of Locked on Pels focuses on Steve Hetzel, maybe as the leader. So let's walk through that, Jake. What would that look like? Why would it make sense?
Yeah, he's a name that I've heard gain a lot of traction with this team over the past couple of days. And so that's why I did that show today on it, where it seems like maybe he's the front runner for this. And the Pelicans are doing a pretty good job of kind of keeping things under wraps right here. But you've got to look at the approach this team is trying to take. They're trying to thread a needle here. They're trying this two timelines approach where they want to be competitive and they want to make it into the playoffs. and try and be a title contender this coming year. But they also have two rookies from last year, and Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, who look like they can be franchise cornerstones. So you want to try and develop those players too. And, for both of those players, you saw them get dropped from starting roles, from heavy minutes, because they weren't helping the team win. So taking this two-timeline approach at times is a little bit contradictory and not something that NBA teams tend to pull off really well. But when you look at Steve Hetzel, as someone who's been in the league as an assistant coach for almost 15 years now, right? Got his start with the San Antonio Spurs. Before that, as a video coordinator, has risen through the ranks, has interviewed for other head coaching jobs. Maybe he's the type of coach that's really going to help you kind of achieve those two timelines. He's known for player development. He's known for really connecting with young guys, getting them to buy in, coming up with individual plans to get the most out of these players and for them to grow their NBA careers and be impactful on a team's winning record. But he's also not necessarily, like a green first-time head coach. This is someone who's been in the league for a while. He's been the head coach for multiple teams in Summer League. He's been a head coach in the G League. So he's the type of guy that can lead your team and is going to maybe have a lesser learning curve, let's say, than a Rajon Rondo. Rondo has insane basketball IQ. We know that with him. We know he's probably ready to be a head coach too, just based off of that. But look, you're going to have rookie head coach mistakes, things with rotations, timeouts, adjustments, what have you. With Steve Hetzel, I think that's going to be minimized a little bit for this team. And so maybe that helps you with the player development and winning now and not potentially going to cost you games.
Why would you say that you think Rondo is ready to be a head coach?
From talking to a number of people around the league, he's just someone with just such a high basketball IQ that has always been able to relate to other players. In the year he was here in New Orleans, the way he would devour film and use that to teach guys like Anthony Davis, even Drew Holiday, established guys on the team, it really shocked them. And they've openly talked about how they learned a lot from Rondo in that 1 year. And that's not even him doing that full time, right? That's just him as a player trying to be prepared for a playoff opponent or your next Wednesday game or what have you. So I think him in a full coaching role, focusing only on that, not taking the time to take care of his body and doing what he needs to do and just teaching others seems to be a real gift that he has. And sometimes that comes really naturally to people. And for Rondo, that definitely seems to be the case. He's been around the Milwaukee Bucks as kind of an advisor, special assistant to Doc Rivers the past 2 years. So he's got some experience seeing exactly how the team is being run and probably making mental notes on what he would need to do. And there's a couple of stories that have come out even from a guy like Ryan Rollins, who really took a big leap forward for the Milwaukee Bucks this year. And he's credited Rondo and just spending time around him on team planes and in between games as a reason for that. So it seems like Rondo is one of those players that can kind of make the leap from being a former player with no assistant coaching experience to being a head coach. And you've seen a number of guys do that. Jason Kidd is a player that did that. You saw it with Steve Nash, even Steve Kerr too. When you see the guys that have done this, they tend to be those kind of like coach on the floor type of guys. It really is around point guards and guard-like players. You're seeing it with J.J. Redick right now. Those point guards are essentially coaches on the floor, organizing the team, making adjustments on the fly. This is not like football where your head coach is calling in plays or your coordinators are calling in plays on offense and defense. You have some set concepts you want to do, and it's up to your point guard in the moment to kind of organize everyone as play is ongoing. So those point guards tend to transition to being head coaches much easier than other positions would.
Jake, where do you fall? Jake Madison's our guest, Locked on Pelicans at NOLA. Jake, where do you fall on the idea of an NBA retread or a first-time head coach?
I don't fall on either one, let's say. What I'm looking for with this team is to just get the right guy. And I think this is a really unique position here. And I understand why a name like Darvin Ham, who was with the Lakers for 2 years before his tenure ended, is seen as a retread and just like an unsexy hire, not a hire that inspires a lot of confidence, right? And I completely get that idea, but this is a job that's going to be pretty high pressure. You're trying to win now. And so maybe you do need that head coaching experience previously when it comes to it. There's not a ton of guys that have won NBA titles or had tons of success that this team was realistically going to be able to hire. So if you value head coaching experience, you're going to eventually have to get a retread because otherwise that guy would be employed currently, essentially, is how I view it here. With a young up-and-coming head coach, though, they might have new ideas. They kind of represent an unknown, and that can be exciting. What could they do? We don't know what their ceiling is, whereas you view a Darvin Ham, and you're like, yeah, I have an idea of what he could do. Same thing for like Jamal Mosley with the Orlando Magic. But those guys can also flame out pretty hard, and we've seen over the past couple of years, the NBA teams hire a guy and realize after 1 year, like, this wasn't it, and fire that guy and move on. And for a team that's kind of at times had a lot of head coaching volatility, I don't think that's what the Pelicans should be looking at here. But the way I kind of view it is I want the smartest tactician mind, I think, for this Pelicans team. I want someone who knows how to deploy these players and use these players properly. There's a lot of talent here in New Orleans. They have just never really been able to figure out how to use all of that talent together successfully. And even on the current roster with Zion Williamson and then the rookie last year, Derek Queen, I don't think those two players fit together basically at all. And I think you're eventually going to need to make a choice of one or the other. But Joe Dumars in his end of season media availability said, like, I think they fit. I want to see these two try and work it out. So you need a head coach that's going to be able to do that. And so to me, whether that's a retread or a young up and coming guy, I care less about that. I just want someone who's basically going to be able to make these pieces fit together.
Does Dumars have full autonomy to make the decision?
Yeah, I think he does. I think you're seeing him kind of remake this organization right now, and this shouldn't really be a big shock, right? They have more or less cleaned house, but it's a regime change. That's kind of what always happens here in those clearing of houses, right, where you're restaffing departments basically from the ground up, always happen in the second year of a regime change. You need to keep some people from the previous regime in your first year just to keep some continuity as you head into the draft and free agency and all that. But it's year two that you really see big changes happen. And so this year, I really do think it's Joe Dumars putting his stamp on the organization, building the culture that he wants to build. For better or worse, people can debate that. But this is what's happening currently, and I do think he has full autonomy to do what he thinks he needs to do.
Is there any possibility that James Borrego gets the job?
Yeah, I think there is. I think they have him in the running for, a very realistic reason. You heard it, the players' end of season media availability. They basically all spoke very highly of James Borrego. They all really seem to like him. They all seem very motivated by him. They understand that, he probably did the best anyone could do in the circumstances this year of taking over, not mid-season, but early on in the year. And he didn't have 5 months of an offseason to plan, to prep. He didn't have training camp doing things his way. And he really remade the offense and defense to the best of his ability during the season. And I don't think people realize that over an 82-game season, you're maybe getting 30 practices at the most. It's mostly just quick shoot-arounds, walkthroughs, but you're not like drilling in new concepts or things like that very regularly. So, but be able to do what he did on the fly, it truly was impressive, even if it wasn't reflected in the wins and losses. I think they probably view him as, the break glass in case of emergency option. Maybe, they offer this job to other people and they get turned down for whatever reason. Well, you always have Borrego that you can kind of fall back on, I think. And maybe it's useful to have that kind of guy in your back pocket should you need it.
YouTube or your favorite podcast app, make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Pelicans. He's at NOLA Jake. He is Jake Madison. 20 seconds. Who would you pick?
I think at this point, Steve Hetzel makes a lot of sense. I think that's the guy that they might end up going with. It threads the needle really well. If I was going out of the box, someone that hasn't interviewed, I'd go with Mike Inouye from the Minnesota Timberwolves, their lead assistant, and they're doing great in the playoffs right now.
Thank you, Jake. We appreciate it, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Always. Appreciate Jake. Does great stuff, man. 10 out of 10 recommend you subscribe to Locked On Pelicans. Podcast or YouTube, whichever you prefer. 10 out of 10 recommend. Even if you're not an everydayer there, you'll want it in your feed for when you want it in your feed. Success takes a team, not just on the field. At FMOL Health, the team is more than 20,000 strong, delivering care across Louisiana and Mississippi as one connected, mission-driven health system. As a $5 billion health system, with nationally recognized quality and not one but two exceptional workplace awards from Gallup, FMOL Health has built something people trust and continues to grow to meet the needs of the communities they serve. And when LSU needed a partner to care for its student athletes, they chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner. That tells you everything you need to know, because the same level of care isn't just for athletes. It's for you, your family, and communities across the region, because that same level of care is here. It's bigger than sports. It's about having a health system that you can count on. FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, and LSU. Together, we roar. Learn more at olrmc.com/LSU. It has been an awesome show, man. What a jam-packed day. Talking Will Wade. Shea Dixon was here talking Cruton. Jay Johnson updated some injuries. We had Pete Jenkins and Chris Doring last hour. You just heard Jake Madison. Alvin Kamara giving his thoughts on bringing in Travis Etienne. Just a jam-packed show. If you missed anything, make sure you catch it on demand. AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Final break. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here for Outta Locks. Picks are already live at louisianasports.net. If you want them, you can get them there. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Not sure what to get, Mom? I got an idea. Mother's Day Sunday, go to Clegg's Nursery. They got so many great options over at Clegg's. And if you're not sure what to get of all those great options, just get her a Clegg's gift card and let her go pick. But they have tons of amazing options, from beautiful flowers for your patio pots or the flower beds. They've got awesome ideas like tuned wind chimes, bird feeders and hummingbird feeders, great outdoor decor. If Mom loves to spend her time in the garden, man, you can't go wrong with a gift from Clegg's Nursery. So get on by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations: Seagoneer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Their greenhouses are bursting with blooms at Clegg's. So get on by and see them and take care of Mom. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Got a text earlier today from Adam over at Insurance Network of Louisiana, and this rang so true to me. There was a customer who had their home and auto with State Farm and actually chose to switch to a new company, courtesy of Insurance Network of Louisiana, pay about $200 more for the year, so less than $20 extra per month. Slight increase, but got better coverage and with a better company. Listen, I live this in the roofing industry. Companies like State Farm might give you a lower premium, but when it comes time where you have to file a claim, are they going to be there for you? Are they actually going to help you through that and pay your claim? You've heard horror stories. Service matters. You want Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let them shop. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer of Louisiana. My guy Rooney over at Sunshine John Deere just sent me a photo of all of his Clegg's flowers. My guy got Garden of the Month in his neighborhood. I'm not going to tell you what neighborhood. Well, that is popping. He said all my Clegg's flowers. There you go, Rooney. He said he's trying to keep up with the otter. Good luck. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's up, Matthew?
Missed you yesterday, but what a night. What a night for the Otter. Little 3-in-1 piece.
Yeah, with a dog in there, that helps. So,
the Minnesota Timberwolves, you love that?
Yes, we got killed on the Sixers, but,
Happens.
It happens. It happens.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, and we are got some work to do now.
Right, we got
we're down in both of the MLB plays. So an opportunity to jump on now with some much better prices.
Okay.
So Tampa Bay, you're well aware of the Yankees run. They are the number 1 seed right now in the American League. But, the last 11 games, they have not gained any ground on the Tampa Bay Rays. They both Tampa Bay has won 10 of 11 as well, and they have their best pitcher on the mound now. He's down 1-0 to Kevin Gausman in the Toronto Blue Jays, but in game he is plus 120. So we're going to ride that Tampa Bay train with their best pitcher, Rasmussen, going tonight. Baltimore and Miami, Alcantara has been hit up for 3 runs already in the first inning. So you can take him at plus 300, now plus 280 as we speak right now to come back at a whole lot of baseball in that one. So I would still advise to play those. So
okay,
there you go. We're gonna the one NBA game. I'm stuck on Detroit.
Did you not give Guardians? The website has Marlins Guardians.
I did give out the Guardians.
Okay.
I did give out the Guardians.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Rays weren't on there. It was just Marlins Guardians.
You know what? I did give the Rays, but I bet them.
Okay.
I did bet them. I really like them. Maybe I was trying to be a homer and not just say Kevin Dawson. So.
I love it. Okay. All right. So Marlins Guardians, and if you want to take a swing in game with Tampa, go do it.
Yeah, Guardians, Gavin Williams, their second-best pitcher behind a rookie right now. So we're going to take them. Kansas City pitching down a little bit with Steven Kolick. So we're looking for the Guardians to even up that series at 1 apiece. In the NBA tonight, so 50.5, such a big number. Keep in mind that Oklahoma City won that championship last year with defense. They are a very, very good defensive team. And certainly the Lakers' roster is
1 minute
compromised scoring-wise. I think they're going to really – but here's the thing, Matt. If this thing gets to about like a 25, 30-point lead and the Lakers have like 50 points at the end of guard yourself a little bit with a hedge on their team total over. But we're going team total under 98.5 points. Reason is in blowouts a lot of times they can kind of get lax and the scoring goes up. So just keep in mind, this one could get ugly. Our buddy Ace Manera laid that 15.5. Veteran handicappers don't look to lay 15.5 points in the playoffs often. So it could get ugly. So we're going to go under Lakers team total 98.5.
All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
Very good. Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
All right. That's Jimmy. Jimmy and Charlie every weekday, 11 to 1. All right, it's going to do it for us here. Tiger baseball tonight. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Sunday, Mother's Day. Do you have reservations yet? Supper Club is open Sunday for lunch for Mother's Day, 11 to 3. I might recommend actually to check with Chef Layton to see how many spots they have left, but they're open, limited seating. They're not normally open on Sunday, but they are opening at Supper Club on Sunday for Mother's Day for lunch, 11 to 3. So, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. I might recommend you run there right now to the website to book this reservation if you've not yet gotten a reservation for Mom for Mother's Day. Supperclubbtr.com. Full menu. Let my friends at Supper Club treat Mom like the queen she is with a beautiful Mother's Day lunch at Supper Club. Again, supperclubbtr.com for your reservations. Sunday, Mother's Day, 11 to 3, limited seating. Get it today. supperclubbtr.com.